Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope y'all are doing well. I would like to talk about assisted suicide, where a patient, a cancer patient, or other illnesses want assistance from a doctor to commit suicide in a hospital setting, or they give them pills and they go home. But how do you know that they want them for their self for sure? How do you know that they just don't want them to kill somebody? You know, maybe they want them to help someone else. Maybe they're not even the patient. I'm just throwing things out there. Um, Also, what is the difference from them asking their going to a hospital and asking a physician to help them commit suicide, compared to instead of doing that, they go to a friend to help them with their suicide? What is the difference? If they do it and go to a friend to help commit suicide, if they terminally ill, isn't it the same? I do not know if they passed this bill yet or not yet, but it started in 2021. They've been talking about this bill, and I don't know if I was sick like that, will I want assistant dying like that, or will I fight as much as I could before that time comes? Me, I don't know. I probably want to fight, but you never know your decisions, your decisions you made about that unless you're in that type of pain. But I thought that's what was do not suscitate was for. So if their heart stopped, they stop breathing or something like that, they put a do not suscitate in their chart, so they don't be brought back or put in their chart. Okay, after 30 days, they want the plug to be pulled on them or stuff like. I thought that was that for, but now they actually have it where they're trying to. A lot of people are fighting for this bill to for this bill here. I'm gonna check later and find out, but I'm sure y'all can look it up and find out some information for yourself and see what you think about that situation. But if some of them do it without letting their friends and family know, wouldn't they still try to sue the hospital? I'm just saying. If they didn't have their family, you see, that's one thing. If the family don't have their family, is not there to know about it, and all parties sign a consent form, all this other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things you got to think about with that. I just think it's kind of messed up because if a friend helped their friend commit suicide, they go to jail. But they finna pass a bill for a doctor to be able to just give somebody some pills or a shot or whatever and kill them all. Do they have to do a video saying they're not crazy, they assign mind and body, where they have to record them saying, yes, they want to do this to make sure that it is no crazy shit going on? Or they wasn't coerced to do it, they wasn't talked in to do it. How do you actually know that that person wants to do that or not? Well, that's just my opinion. That's like a lot of different sides of it, of different things. Anyways, y'all can judge for yourself. Here's more information on it.
A lot of steps built into this bill. First, 2 doctors need to confirm a terminal diagnosis. Then a patient would have to ask for the life-ending drug several times. This would all take weeks, so it's not something that can happen overnight, but those against the measure still have a lot of questions.
A good day, my pain level is an 8.
Even at an 8, Marine veteran William Frankel says assisted suicide is not an option.
I have heart trouble, asthma, severe chronic pain.
Frankel, with his service dog by his side, pointed out several flaws that he saw in the Death with Dignity bill. He worries insurance companies will use the measure as a way to deny costly care.
It'll be cheaper to let someone pass away than it will be to treat them.
Under the bill, if someone were to use the life-ending drug, their terminal illness would be listed as the cause of death.
It would be a form of fraud if someone who used a doctor-assisted suicide, if that is not listed in the death certificate at some point.
While Frankel joined several others speaking against the bill, Fred Volz stood alone on the other side.
Sometimes in life you have to be a majority of one.
Volz, a commercial real estate manager by day, spent his night here.
I would not want to put either my family or myself through hopeless medical care.
He's already had loved ones go through this.
They had really lost all hope that the traditional medical profession could help them. And as a result, there really wasn't much for them to do except to endure. And so their lives were very truncated, and they knew that the end was coming. It gave me a tremendous amount of resolve to want to do the same thing. In other words, want to have the choice, because it's my body, it's my life.
Volz has read the bill closely, and he believes there are enough protections to avoid many of the worries from the other side.
I'm very troubled by some of the people who feel that their judgment should supersede the individual's choice about what's going to happen to their body.
And the Clark County Coroner's Office also testified they're asking for an amendment on how a cause of death is decided. They don't want to be responsible for certifying that because it may conflict with other laws. If the committee approves the bill, it'll go to the Senate floor for a full vote.
The Archbishop of Sydney in Australia is urging Catholics to speak out against euthanasia as the Parliament of New South Wales begins considering legalising the practice. The parliamentary debate on the Voluntary Assisted Dying Bill 2021 began on November the 12th. That's less than a month after the draft legislation was introduced by the Independent Member of Parliament, Alex Greenwich. In a letter to his archdiocese, Archbishop Anthony Fisher says it is very important that people voice their opposition to the bill during the public inquiry period, which ends on November the 22nd. The prevalence of elder abuse, along with alarming rates of suicide among the vulnerable, said Archbishop Fisher, means that New South Wales should be especially cautious when it comes to